Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Empire Total War with the Pirate of Borealis mod. Last time around we defeated the British. We took out their last European holding by taking Scotland, which got their entire empire to collapse. Most of their foreign territories was actually absorbed into the Huron nation, and then a lot of it actually went to France as well. And then I think there was some other native nation. Anyways, surprise, surprise, it didn't take long after the Cherokee nation lost their main adversary in the New World, namely Great Britain, for them to find another one, namely me. And immediately they went on the offensive. So they quite quickly took Detroit, took that from me, and they also took Florida. Now, since they did that, I've been able to advance my positions, as you can see. So I have one force that is moving up to lay siege to Florida. However, there's potential of us being sandwiched, as there is a Cherokee force that is turned up over here. Then I decided to abandon my move towards the Sioux territories and instead focus my armies to head towards Detroit to seize that and make sure that also I saw that I could perhaps have taken the Sioux territory, but I think there's a greater advantage of me now having three forces potentially moving in through the back of the Cherokee and attacking their capital and territories back here, which, as you can see, as my navy passed by here to raid their trade, there's a lot of territories back here where they have no armies. Most of their armies seem to be up here along the front line with Great Britain before. So if I'm able to sweep up through the back, I should be able to conquer a lot of territories before they even realize what's going on. Now the problem is that the front line here is rather weak. Now, as we can see, I do have 5 armies here, but the Cherokee has a lot. And I have, in between episodes, I actually faced the Cherokee in battle once, and their units are quite strong. They have very good morale. Their units are quite accurate in the way that they fight. So my units have a problem like shooting them down. And then, of course, they're quite strong in melee as well. So when we charge, that is also quite the trouble. You can see a lot of units here. Now, obviously, they don't have the same range as us, but a lot of their units have at least 50 accuracy compared to the average among ours. Now I selected the guard army, so that's perhaps not the best, but we have an average of around 45. So they do have an advantage in accuracy. They do have sort of an advantage in melee. I was able to defeat their cavalry quite quickly, but I think that might be specific to those units. They did hold very long though. I was able to kill their cavalry, but a big problem with a lot of these Cherokee units is their morale is very high. So it's 17, 10, 11, 14, while a lot of my units are hovering around 9, 10 for the regular units, and then obviously higher for the guard units. We can also see that a Cherokee army, a large Cherokee force, is moving around here, attacking my own backside. The problem also, when the Cherokee take over a territory, everything gets torn down. So we can see that they took the Florida territory from me. Every single one of these areas got torn down. So all the trade port got torn down. All these areas got torn down and are now being built by Cherokee Cherokee infrastructure. So when they take over a territory, it all like turns, and all the money that's spent on it completely wiped out. So that's quite the problem. What I have done now in response to this is I've responded rather quickly, and so we already have a number of fleets on the way, and then I'm sending even more armies on the way that's going to turn up, because I feel like another advantage I have is my big navy. So I will have tons of navies coming in here, and to add on to the problem for the Cherokee is that we will be able to land across the coast and hit them from behind here. But we're still gonna see quite a bit of problem throughout this conflict. I am confident in victory, but we will see, I think, very heavy casualties throughout this war dealing with the Cherokee. I think a great advantage I do have, though, is sitting in forts and sort of waiting them out that way. I do think the Cherokee will have quite the difficulty storming forts. Anyways, what I thought we'd do for this episode right here is, first and foremost, is I have a chance here by the General Sture Nylander to go ahead and take Upper Canada. They only have 400 defenders against my 4,000 attacking troops. So I will demand surrender, and they accept. And so I capture this territory from the Cherokee. The problem, of course, now that I've taken it, I have all these Cherokee-style villages and stuff that probably cause quite a bit of trouble for me. Clamor for reform is high. The religion doesn't cause that much problem, but it's still quite the problem. And yeah. Obviously I want to be able to advance quite quickly through the different areas. But it's a good start that we are now starting to reclaim territory. Then the next step here is we will be able to be attacking Albany, New York, and also fight off some natives here to hopefully open up the road towards Philadelphia, so it's a great center. But at the same time, got two full stacks right here, could be rather dangerous. I think that what I want to do is I want to strike for the centers. That's the important bit. So, we have about, I wonder if this is the army that reinforces, or if there's a hidden force that I don't see. I'll be able to bring my entire army of about 10,000 men against the enemies about 1,400, so they don't really have a chance. So once again, I'll demand them to just leave the territory. And New York, I just seized New York, which is great. And this will also open up a port which I can land more armies. So, pretty good start. We lost 2 territories up front in this war through the Cherokee attacking me, but we just took 2 territories from them, Upper Canada and Albany, New York. So I think we're on a good pace to outpace our enemies. Let's just hope that reinforcements arrive, and that me fighting the natives will not be as bad as the first time I fought them. And with that, let's go ahead and end turn. Give us new opportunities, new money to spend on recovering a lot of the armies, and then also hoping that my reinforcements from Europe arrives. And with that, let's go ahead and end turn, shall we? I have an Ottoman navy attacking me, while it's a tempting battle to fight, because look at all, their ships are all kind of cut down. Even though I have two ships, against their what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ships. I do need the money. I do need the money for rebuilding and for the armies. And I mean, they carry like 32 men for this one. I could capture all of this. It could easily be like 20,000 if I capture all of that. Silly Ottomans, but still time consuming. But I think it will be worth it. And my constant war, and also, more importantly, I will continue to hold the strait so the Ottomans can't pass through and attack this force. Because this force, I think it's one of the forces that I haven't actually spent money on recovering. So this would be a problem. If the Ottomans break through at Constantinople, that would be a real headache. Or equivalent almost to me getting my port blocked by the British. So I think the safe bet is to actually fight it, even if it is going to be a little bit time consuming here, when I'm more interested in seeing how my fight against the Cherokee goes. But yeah, enough talking. Let's go ahead and capture some Ottoman ships. Here's the result of the battle. It went rather well. I went straight into the naval force, blasting grape shot on all sides, and they started to surrender one by one. But then I actually did have a moment of doubt. I hadn't noticed, but all the Ottoman ships were firing towards my sails. And for the second ship here, the Estrella del Mar, they actually cut the mainmast, and they actually cut mainmast and the one, I don't know what that's called, but the one behind as well. So we only had the frontmost mast, and that ship started to retreat, and the Ottomans caught up to it and started boarding it. However, the Ottoman ship boarding it had like 50 men crew, while my ship had 135. So we were able to win there. And then quickly, my third rate came up, and he was able to fire at their sails, where two enemy ships had sort of clumped together next to each other, and he fired through both of their sails, and both of them gave up roughly at the same time as the enemy admiral died in the boarding attempt of the Estrella del Mar. However, one enemy ship did manage to get away. One exploded also, but then one managed to get away. I was almost able to catch up to him as we headed for the end of the map, and I was starting to shoot at his sail at the very end, but he managed to slip away. Otherwise, I captured them all, and as you can see, we raked in 12,000. I wonder, the Ottomans keep attacking this area time and time again, so I wonder if I shouldn't add on at least maybe one of these fourth rates should be added on to just there's not all of these ships. This one's British actually. Robust. We'll take that one. This one must be French. And a lot of these are Ottoman though. So we took on the British one, and perhaps we'll take on the French ship as well. So still nets me 8,500 for that fight. I don't know what the Ottomans have been sailing through, but like 20 men crew to man one of these ships, and then like 12 guns. That's crazy. That's crazy work right there. Well, I wasn't expecting that. The Cherokee bypassed the front line of the three armies here and brought 900 men to attack Boston, which only is able to bring up 330 men and a mortar. Now, I could post a defense of this, but I feel like we just wasted a load of time with that Ottoman skirmish, and I figure this will fall just as easily back. The bad news about this is obviously all the infrastructure will be destroyed. But then again, I'm not really relying on the New World infrastructure to build my forces in this area. But yeah, we'll go for an out-resolve. They lost 23 men while killing the entire garrison. The amount of raids are there's quite a lot of them. They're raiding literally everywhere. We have all the way over here. Not exactly needed. Oh, the Protestantism of this area has fallen to 50%. I thought it was higher. We'll help out the Danish by increasing that. New York. Area lost. New England. Port blocked. Oh, they have a navy as well? Oh. Note of protest from New York. Note of protest from Upper Canada. Note of protest from England. We have constructions. Armed rebellion in England. I can't see the armed rebellion though. As soon as the school is built here, we'll leave Ireland to its own devices. Right, and that went through Drunken. Is that the commander here? It's got Drunken. Go ahead and repair that. And go ahead and... oh, it wasn't actually that bad. It only cost me 2,000. New city build in Upper Louisiana. Not exactly what I need to spend my time on. The decline and the fall of the Roman Empire. It's a little bit late for that, isn't it? Right, the 3 fleets have turned up. So we'll be landing troops then along the coast. So we'll bring these fleets right into the heart of the Cherokee territories. And with land forces. Now they get to rue the day they decided to attack the Swedish Empire. Go ahead and remove all of that. So I have 3 forces. Clearly here, Williamsburg, Virginia is a target for Vidic Ekenlöf. And he'll move up and attack there. I'll demand surrender. They accept. And so that falls. Then we have a rather large center, which is Philadelphia. And then I'll demand the surrender of Philadelphia, which went really well as well. And then I wonder, should I strike further south with this army? Because I feel like there's nothing that's going to come in and save Maryland. But why is it stuttering like that right now? So I might be better off actually heading further south. The problem here is there's no ports for me to land in. So I'll just have to land on the beach here. Right, so we just took 2 very important places from them. And actually, this army, I believe, could actually move out and then force the surrender of Maryland. Wonderful. And then we'll attack out through here. And we kill those. We lost a lot more men than they did, but we killed those 2 forces. Wonderful. It's gonna take a lot to start tearing down all the infrastructure and rebuild it in European fashion. But I just landed in the middle of their empire and took out 3 areas here along the coast. We'll have to double back here to go after New England. And I'll bring in 2 armies to do that. You need to be replenished. And then we strike here. That's an auto-resolve. I lost 500 men. They lost 1400. And now they've torn down all the infrastructure. And we'll move to hold it like that. Perhaps that is for the best that they tear down everything, because then I can build it in whatever fashion I desire. We have a strong point here, we have a strong point here. And now I hold most of the coast. Landing here, I'm gonna hold even more. We're gonna lay the siege here. So I have 4,700 men against 2,000 defenders. That's pretty good. I don't know, there's a risk of this force coming here. I'll recruit company infantry, but I think it might be too late for that. The thing though is here, where they tore down everything and haven't even started rebuilding it. This is also an auto-resolve. So we lost 500 men, they lost 700. And I managed to claim this, which is really good. I'm gonna start moving my spies. Stuttering quite a bit. Gonna start moving my spies into enemy territory to figure out what they've got and where they've got it. So that's their capital. So I think I have spies in most of their areas. So what the Cherokee have left now is they have Florida, they have Savannah, Georgia, they have Charleston, Carolina. They do have their Cherokee territory, and they have the Kentucky territory. And then they also have the Algonquin territory and the Iroquois territory. But they've lost a lot here. And one thing they're about to lose now is the navy. So I will send... I think maybe it's a bit overkill to send this big navy over after them, but you know, that's the closest navy I have. So we have some kind of different pirate ships and stuff that is being commanded by one of their admirals. It's probably their only fleet. And I bring in my largest ship, the Gothenburg, with 122 guns, ready to cut them absolutely to pieces. Right, let's go ahead and humiliate the enemy even further. And here's the result of the battle. I thought I would be able to capture quite a lot of them. The thing though is, when you bring up a ship like the Gothenburg, which has 100 and whatever guns it had, 120, and you unleash on that as canister onto the enemy ship, it basically rips it apart. Those smaller ships. So it was quite funny to see the entire deck being cleared of those smaller boats. But they all sank. And also the problem with that, of firing such a big complement of just cannons onto such a small boat, is the risk that you blow it up. And we did in one case. So one of my ships almost exploded when an enemy ship exploded right next to it. So the Hercules almost sank because a ship exploded next to it and started a fire on board of Hercules. Luckily though, I was able to contain the fire and we didn't lose Hercules. However, we did sink all of the enemy ships. Apparently one of them remains, which I find surprising. But I guess one of their ships was so small that we didn't even notice it. And with that, there is no more Cherokee Navy. Gotta go ahead and repair that. Blockade runner. Ah, because we opened the blockade? Right. Now the question is, how much time of this episode do I have left? Should I save the land battles for the next one? We do have this siege here. They might be able to send troops there. Perhaps what I will do is we'll go ahead and just wait for the next one when we start to actually fight the Cherokee's land armies. I wonder, how is the Cherokee actually doing currently? They're strong, the power is strong, and the wealth is rich. I don't know how that compared with what state they were in before. But I don't think they're doing too well. Really what I should be looking is at the capital. War awareness 7, so it's not as bad. I think the British had like 14 when I did the worst to them. Damn, the tax rate they're able to get out of this, 77%. So even if they only have a small number of settlements left, they'll be able to get quite a lot of money out. This one's crazy! 92%! 92% of all the wealth of the region is taxed, or the wealth that is created in the province, 92% of it is going to tax. Well, then it's good that I went to Charleston, Carolina, because clearly they're making a lot of money out of that. Their tax rates are crazy. Perhaps it's just that they realize that this is total war, and if they're not able to expel the Europeans, then they're gone. They're finished. So they must have high tax rates. They must pool all their resources of their nations into war. Otherwise, they're gone. Now, let's quickly head back to Europe. So, one little problem that I want to end with is Scotland. So, I ended up giving Scotland all the technologies I had without thinking, which led them to have a massive amount of clamor to reform, which means that currently they are exempting their only region from tax, which means that it's gaining wealth, which is quite unusual at this stage. But it also means that they do not make a lot of money, so their power is feeble and their wealth is destitute. So they basically have to live on my handouts in terms of being able to do anything. And also, they're not very good at setting up trade deals. Now they have a very small port, but I'm pretty sure they should be able to set up... they should be set up 4. They've only set up 2. So really they need to get some more friends so they can actually make some more money from trade. Now I'm not entirely sure here if I should allow Ireland to become its own nation, because I think Ireland could be stronger than Scotland then. But I'm also thinking then about giving all of England to the Scottish. And one thing to facilitate that, I think, is actually burning the classical university to make it easier for them to hold this area. Also, we're turning every single port in the country into a trade port, so that if the Scottish ever decide to switch sides and go against the main benefactor, then they won't have nearly as great of a navy as I will. And you know what? I think on that note, we'll go ahead and end this episode, and I'll leave you wondering about the martial prowess of the natives of the Cherokee. Their prowess at sea could not match European powers, but on land there's a completely different story to be told. And that story will be told in the next episode. Damn, what am I on right now? But yes, that will be told in the next episode. And I hope you'll tune in for that. So I'll leave you, as I always leave you, with the words, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.